Well, welcome to Demystifying Bluegrass Harmony Vocals. I'm really excited to dive into this topic with you. It's something that I've been really passionate about, especially for the past 5 or so years. I was studying music education and singing a lot in choirs, spending a lot of time, reading harmony singing in church choir and and in university choirs and a cappella groups and things like that. And so the transition for me as I started to get into bluegrass music was very natural. A lot of those skills carried over, and it was part of my deep love for this genre of music. Bluegrass harmony vocals in particular, I think, are really unique in that in many different commercial styles of music, we have a lead vocalist, and then we have backup singers. And oftentimes those backup singers are way further back in terms of the mix, like they're quiet, their voices are softer, and it's really about the lead voice. But from the very beginning, bluegrass and country music, you had sort of a different dynamic a different dynamic that bands were approaching harmony singing. Oftentimes, the harmony vocalists, the people not singing the melody, were just as loud and sometimes louder. Their parts were sort of equal. And it's when people hear the music live, they're often drawn to the style for that exact reason. You'll see three harmony, if it's a traditional bluegrass band, you'll see three singers leaning into one mic, getting really close together and mixing themselves because they're hearing, in a monitor, they're hearing back what's coming out of the microphone, and they're trying to get that perfect blend of all three voices, either equal or to their to the individual band's preference. Some bands had the highest part, even though it wasn't the melody, they had that part even louder. Bill Monroe was kind of known for his he wasn't singing the melody all the time. He was often singing the harmony part above the melody, and his part was always loudest because it's Bill Monroe. And so we're going to talk a lot about sort of how a bluegrass band would have arranged vocals, and also how harmony singing kind of evolved from early country music and duet singing, brother duet singing, and the influences of, say, hymnal singing, how all of that kind of came together in bluegrass music. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that bluegrass music is a commercial kind of music. These are people who were trying to make a living playing and performing this music. They're trying to get their music recorded on the radio. They're trying to get out of the rural towns and go to the cities and perform and sell tickets to shows. So it's a different approach that bluegrass musicians have had from the very beginning to harmony singing than it is in other genres. For example, the music that's influenced bluegrass music but was not as commercial was a lot of the early brother duets and country, local sort of country rural music that was happening. You might have heard of like the Carter family, for example. Now the Carter family, or others in that early kind of predating bluegrass country style singing, they were not necessarily on the road recording this music. They weren't trying to make a living per se out of it. And so oftentimes the harmony singing was a lot of intuitive duet singing. And if it was three-part singing, oftentimes the voices might at times overlap with one another, or you might be singing in octaves at times. It wasn't as arranged as, say, hymnal singing would be, where every note of every word is a different note. And that hymnal singing has also had a big influence on bluegrass music. And so for a lot of reasons, the complexity of the way that trios and quartets were arranged and rehearsed in bluegrass bands and on the road, that type of singing became a lot more complex and a lot more. You'll hear language in bluegrass circles of people who are really kind of true to this tradition. You'll hear language of like, that's not how the harmony part goes, it goes this way. So there's more a sense of like, there are definitive recordings and there's a way that people have done things. And a lot of bluegrass musicians are in respect of that because of the way that those musicians were trying to differentiate themselves at the time. They're saying this is real kind of concertized music. They're trying to. You might have heard that, early bluegrass bands would dress up in suits and ties and things like that, because at first listen, people would say that's like hillbilly country, backcountry music or whatever, and they were trying to say, yeah, that's our roots, but this is a real respectable. They were really trying to kind of set themselves apart as you can buy tickets, you can listen to our recordings, you can buy our merch and all that, our CDs and things like that, later on, of course. And so that's kind of where we see bluegrass harmony vocals branching off in this other direction, this other interesting direction that's a little bit more complex. And there's even a language around learning the harmony singing that was used by band leaders to communicate to their band members where these parts were. And so I'd like to dive into kind of the language first and spend the first half of class just talking about some of the language that people use around arranging this music and making sure that we can apply that in the second half to a common song in the bluegrass tradition. So I want to first mention that your main vocal part, the melody of the song, is a familiar term. What we're probably used to hearing is referred to as the lead. So, who's singing the lead would be the question of, if you're in a jam and you've never rehearsed or something, that might be a question of who's going to sing the main melody. And then you have traditionally you have two other harmony parts. Why two other harmony parts? Well, in any one chord, you've got three notes. You've got the root, the third, and the fifth. Most bluegrass, country, roots, folk music are based on 3-note chords, whereas swing and jazz often based on 4-note chords. And so, for the most part, we have 3 possible different notes that at any one time can be sung to create a perfect chord. The goal of a lot of bluegrass bands that were really particular about ranging harmony as it kind of spanned across the melody, is they tried to create a perfect sandwich around the melody, right? Meaning the melody was in the middle, and there was a person singing right above the melody and a person singing right below the melody. And they followed the contour shape of that melody perfectly, following that formula from beginning to end. Right? And that was the basic 95% outline. There was a couple rules that were broken where they'd step into different lanes for a moment or even play a note that's outside of the chord. We can maybe talk about that later. But 95% of the time you've got what people call stacked harmony. And the reason why the harmony was stacked with the melody in the middle is because most bluegrass groups at that time were all one gender. They were like homogeneous genders. So you had 5 men. The easiest way to get 5 men to sing in a group, because they all have similar ranges, is to have, the lead singer in the middle, a person with a slightly higher voice sing above, and a person with a slightly lower voice sing below. You'll see that dynamic change in second generation bluegrass music, where you had either men with exceptionally high voices or women starting to participate in the music. And so, for example, Alison Krauss's band, she sings on the top, and the 2 male singers in the band sang below her in a stack. This also happened with the Osborne brothers, where Bobby Osborne, the brother who had a really high iconic voice, you might have heard the song Rocky Top, he's kind of known for, right? He would sing on the top, and then the 2 other men in the group sang beneath him, right? And then later on, even further, you have trios of women. Like there's a group called Trio, which is Dolly Parton, Emmylou Harris, and Linda Ronstadt. And they did the same thing, where you had a lead singer in the middle, a singer above, and a singer below. Now, all this goes to say, if you're singing with people of a similar vocal range to you, the most common stack, and the one that's been done the most often in bluegrass, is this traditional stack of the melody in the middle and a harmony part above and below, following the contour perfectly. So, there's a language that we've kind of developed to basically to identify the name of these 2 vocal parts. We have the lead in the middle, and then we have 2 other vocal parts. And in order to communicate what those parts are and who's going to sing what, there was a language that was developed independent of like choir music, even though it has kind of some of the similar terms. So you may have heard these terms before, but if not, they're kind of different in bluegrass context, so you can kind of think about them a little bit differently. You got the lead in the middle, and the vocal part that's closest hugging the lead above is referred to as the tenor singer. So tenor, the term actually means above. Like that's the translation of the term. Although tenor in a choir, if you've ever sang in choir, is like towards the bottom. So we have to throw those terms out and kind of rethink the terminology. Same thing with the part on beneath the melody, hugging it closest, right? That's referred to as the baritone. And that, again, translates to beneath the tone. So it makes perfect sense why you'd have that one hugging the melody below. We have our tenor and our baritone. And traditionally, the easiest way to find that, if you have a chordal instrument, is to strum the chord and then do you can do this with me, you don't need an instrument, but this is the general idea of finding your harmony part. If you're not thinking, in terms of music theory, a very intuitive, easy way to find your harmony part in bluegrass is to strum the chord. This is a D chord. And then say the melody is, for I'll Fly Away, for example, which we'll jump into later. If the melody is, I'll fly away, oh glory. To find your first starting note in bluegrass harmony vocals, we hold out our melody note against the chord, and then you're going to do a little siren down to the next note that sounds good in the chord. So you can try this with me. It's very simple, and it works kind of in most bluegrass contexts here. Look at me, I'm falling apart. Okay, so let's find the tenor part. We're going to gradually go up with this chord until we find a note that sounds good. So that would be your first starting note if you were singing the tenor part. To sing the baritone part, we do the opposite. And you can use that method at any part of the song. For example, if we're in the middle. I'll fly away, oh glory. That's our note there, but it's over a G chord. So to find the other two notes in that moment, we can go up from that note. Or And that method's a really good way to figure out your harmony part. If you're trying to correct it along the line, if you think that you might be singing someone else's part, you'll see groups rehearse, and they'll either physically do that out loud or they'll do it in their head. They'll kind of figure out how far they are from the melody. So we can kind of go through the song at different points and try that. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. From there, way. That would be where your tenor part is, way, or way. That's a little low for me in this key. Way. Right? Would be your baritone part. Going on. When I die, when I die, when. You can go up from there, when, or when. Hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. The ending tenor part would be way, or way. So that's how the language of, and how kind of this tenor and baritone parts, how a person with a trained ear would figure them out. Now, in a real, bluegrass band on the road setting, not everybody had that sort of ear and that sort of understanding of harmony. And so often what you have is one person in the band with a real strong ear teaching the harmony parts to the rest of the band members on the road. This is like documented. If you see documentaries, there was always like one or two musicians that was teaching the other person. Often you'll talk to these younger musicians that join band who had not sang harmony before, and they'll talk about how nervous they were at first, and they would do their best on whatever harmony part that their boss taught them or whatever, and they got better over time. Oftentimes, if you had, like, for example, a lower voice, you might get pinned as the baritone singer for all of the songs in the band, but some people who had really versatile voices would kind of switch around based on the song and the key that it was sung. All this goes to say, if you're new to harmony singing, I wanted to start with just a basic, demonstration about the terminology and the language around the music, but I wanted to spend a good amount of time, if you're new to it, to just experiencing it for yourself, getting the chance to sing some of these parts on your own. And so I thought I would share with you this app that I've been working on with a friend of mine. And the goal of the app is to help people learn to sing harmony by enabling a feature for you to isolate a vocal part and listen to just one at a time, in the same way that you might be if you were a musician on the road and you're getting taught by the boss man how your part goes, right? And so that app is in its sort of beta form, which I'll share with you now. It looks like this before it gets all prettied up, but it still has some of the functionality. So here's I'll Fly Away with all the parts.
I'll fly away your glory, I'll fly away.
But I can get just the melody if I exit out of these.
When I die, hallelujah, by and by.
Or I can blend them.
I'll fly away.
Right? So we can use this app during this class, and I'm happy to share with you. This is a beta version if you're interested in like using this yourself and giving some feedback. We're using it, for the first time really in this past month, and I'd love to use it to work on this song together. So the first thing when you're trying to be a harmony singer is to learn the melody note for note. Make sure you have the melody perfect. So a quick note on learning melody. It can be challenging sometimes. If you listen to the original version of this song, it can be challenging to figure out what the melody is, because sometimes the harmony parts were so close that it made it really challenging to figure out who's singing the lead. And like I said before, oftentimes they're blended at the same volume, so pretty challenging to figure out. That's the advantage, of course, of having either this app or a person in the band traditionally, right, who can isolate the part for you. Oftentimes they pull them aside and play some chords and sing the song and things like that. But I'll go through some just general tips in learning this. And the first being, I'll isolate the melody, and we can sing the melody together. The first thing you want to do is trace the contour or the shape of the melody. So you want to have a perfect sense of exactly where the notes go up and down for. All right, so let's do that together with our finger.
I'll fly away your glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
All right, a couple more times on that. You can sing along if you'd like. I think this is in the key of G.
I'll fly away your glory.
Same note actually there.
I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by.
Hallelujah, by and by, same note.
I'll fly away.
A couple more times on that.
I'll fly away your glory.
Same note.
I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Good, one last time here, and then we'll try singing it without the melody playing behind you.
I'll fly away your glory.
Same note.
I'll fly away. by and by. I'll fly away.
Cool. So the way that you can sort of test yourself is just trying to sing the melody without any sort of accompaniment or without any sort of guide, right? So I'll just play the chords and I'll give you your first note. See if you can do it on your own. So this is your first starting note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hallelujah. Cool, a couple more times on that. This is your first note. 1, 2, here we go. When I die. Good, one last time. That's your starting note. 1, 2, 3, go. Fly away. Nice. So the melody is obviously one of the easier ones to pick up. It's kind of follows the rules of most common melodies, especially this one. It's nothing crazy. The next easiest part to hear is the tenor part, which is the vocal part above that. Now, in this particular key, the tenor part is going to be a little high for the average male vocal singer. And so you might sing this part an octave below if it's too high for you. That melody might be a little too low at some of the lowest points for the average female voice. So do your best to follow along, and we'll try this in another key if we have time at the very end here. Let's isolate the tenor part, and I'll show you how I'm doing that in the app. This is going to be sort of available on a computer or a phone. That was one of the things that we wanted to be able to do. So I'm just going to eliminate these, turn the volume down on them. Oops, that's the baritone part, sorry.
Away your glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Okay, so that's the idea there. What you want to do with this is, ideally it should follow, for the most part, it follows the exact same contour of the lead. It should follow the shape exactly, right? Sometimes the rules are broken when ranges get weird. If one of the notes ends up too low, they kind of cross or whatever. For this particular reference, I made it so that it does follow the contour perfectly. So let's draw the contour together as we hear this tenor part one more time. This is your first starting note, way up there.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Cool, a couple more times on that, and then we'll try it without the guide track here. Up here.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Good, one last time on this part here. Then we'll try it with just the guide track. So that would be like if you were on the road learning it.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Cool. So let's try that now and see how you can do without the guide track there. 1, 2, start up here. Nice. Again, up here to start. Or if you have a lower voice, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. You can sing it down there. 2, 3, 4. Last time on that, is your starting note? Or you're going to sing it lower. This is referred to as the tenor part because it's the note right above the melody. 2, 3, 4. Cool. So there's your tenor part. Once you've kind of practiced that, been able to sing it alone with the chords or on your own a cappella, then you can try singing it with one other person. A lot of people try to jump right into thick 3 and 4 part harmony before they've sang a lot of duos. Duos are a really great, easier way to kind of jump into harmony singing. So what I'll do with this track is, actually I don't need to use the track right now, but just for the sake of showing you how you might do this at home, you could isolate, if you want to sing the tenor part, then leave the baritone part out and keep the lead there. And we'll just hear the lead and you can sing the tenor part. So let's try that.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
Nice. Try that again. I'll sing the melody. You're up here. Or 3, 4.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
Let's try that again. So you're up here. And I'll start down here. 3, 4.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
Nice. Let's just do one last time for good measure. Or if you have a lower voice. 3, 4.
Fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
Nice. So hopefully you're getting some a sense or a taste of what it means to sing as a duo, which is a lot easier when it's just you and one other person than it is with trio singing. So once you feel pretty confident about being able to do that, figuring out that third part is my personal favorite thing to do. Whenever I hear a duo that has a nice sense of pitch, a strong sense of, they're following each other really closely, I love jumping in and finding that third part. And in this particular instance, we've learned the melody and the lead part. So the part that's missing right now is what would be traditionally called the baritone part, which is the vocal part that's beneath the lead singer. So let's take a listen for that, and then we can see if we can get some 3-part harmony happening. All right, so again, I'll share with you kind of how I'm doing this on the app. It's a little beta version here. I am going to isolate the baritone part. So I'm going to get rid of the lead, get rid of the tenor, click the play button, and just listen for the baritone.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
So not a particularly musical part, very all over the place here. Now, these notes are going to be too low for the average female voice, so you might want to sing these same notes up an octave. One of the functions that I hope to have in the final app is a button that lets you transfer the octave. There is a button that can change the pitch right now, which I'll share with you. It's just a little glitchy. That's beta for you. We have a way of making it slightly higher.
I'll fly away, your glory, I'll fly away.
When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
So what I want to do with the developer is make it display the key that you're in instead of this random number here, which he said he could do just fine. Which would be pretty cool. So it'll show you that it starts in the key of G. And then I also want to have in text here, I want to have it mention that the average male singing key would be here and average female singing key would be here. So there's a bunch of things we want to add, but this is kind of where it's at now. Anyway, that was a little distraction from learning the baritone part. So let's sing the contour and shape of the baritone part a couple times. And I'll try to demonstrate singing it twice as high if I can, if you have a higher voice.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. So is our starting note.
You might sing it there if you got a higher voice. I'll maybe try to demonstrate it there. Good luck to me.
I'll fly away, your glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Nice. One more time on that. So if you have a higher voice, or
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
so that way, that's the note that often people naturally hear is I'll fly away, but that's the melody. So we got to go I'll fly away to this kind of like garbagey note on its own. Sounds great in the context of the full thing. But the biggest thing with the baritone part is people drifting up to the melody at the very end. So just know you have that lower note that kind of sounds weird on its own, but sounds great with everybody else. So this one's the hardest by far. Let's listen to it one or two more times and then see if we can sing it with just the accompaniment. Here is that part on its own one more time.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Cool. One more time on that, singing along with there. By the way, a quick note on something I haven't mentioned yet. That baritone part sang in the higher octave that I demonstrated. In bluegrass music, that would be referred to as the high baritone. So the baritone is really the qualifier. It means it's the actual note beneath the melody in terms of, like, say it's a C chord, right? You got an E in the middle. C would be the note that makes up the baritone part. And if it's sung exactly below, traditionally like in the normal stack, it would just be called baritone. But if you sing that same C note up the octave, it would be called the high baritone part. And the reverse is true if the tenor part is moved down, like in Alison Krauss's band. The note, say that Alison Krauss is singing in E, the G from the C chord sang an octave below. That note, the tenor note, sang an octave below, would be referred to as the low tenor. And so that's where this high baritone, low tenor language that you might hear in a jam, like an intermediate or an advanced jam or in a bluegrass band, that's where that terminology comes from. So if you've got that higher voice and you're singing this baritone part up an octave, you're singing high baritone. And that's a really neat texture in itself. These different stacks can sound cool in different ways. Okay.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Nice. Let's try that with just the accompaniment now. So I'm going to turn all the other parts off, see how well we can sing that part. Once with you, I'll maybe drop out at certain times.
I'll fly away when
Did you end here on that weird note? Here,
I'll fly away.
Cool. All right, one more time with just the accompaniment part here.
Give
a higher voice.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Whoops, I forgot to mute the accompaniment track there. Let's do or mute everything but the accompaniment track. Try it on your own again. Is it starting out or
I'll fly when I away.
Cool. So that's a natural progression. Learning your part as if it's the melody is sort of what is the approach that we're having here. Learning that harmony part so well, you can sing it a cappella, you can sing it with the accompaniment. We know it so well that as soon as we go into duo and trio singing, we just stick to our part. We're not influenced by other people, right? And so once you feel like you have it that strong, like if you're walking down the street and someone asks you, I'll fly away when, and you went, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. As soon as that becomes, as central to the song as the melody is, then you're ready to sing it as a duet. So as a duet, baritone and melody, you can have some neat little harmonic moments too. So let's try that. The way I would do that if I were using the app, if I wanted to sing the baritone part, I would turn off the baritone part, turn off the tenor, just listen to the lead and see if I can sing along with that. That would be my little quiz.
I'll fly away, oh glory.
See if you can do it.
I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Cool. Let's try that a couple more times. I'll sing the melody, you sing that baritone part. So, how's your note or up there? 3, 4.
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
couple more times on that. So your note is, again, if we go back to the description of finding that note from the beginning, the melody is here. Ah. So we go down, we do a little siren down to find that note. Ah. That's the note, whatever octave it's in. Ah or ah. Ah. 3, you sing that part. 3, 4. I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. One more time on that. If I'm here, then you're here. That's your note. 3, 4. Fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Nice. So that's the hardest part by far in harmony singing, is that baritone part. It's just the least intuitive. It's what you hear less of when you hear duet singing. It's usually one person singing the melody and the other person singing that tenor part. But there are some duos that you hear with melody and baritone that can be quite nice as well. I think we're ready to kind of graduate to try to sing some 3-part harmony. That's what we came here for, right? So the way that we can do that from the comfort of our home and over Zoom, which is pretty neat, is I can play these tracks through the speaker with 2 people on them, and you can sing that missing part. So we've been working on the baritone part. Why don't we try that right now, where I'll turn on the tenor and the lead, and you sing that baritone part. So your part is going to be, ah. See if you can do that. Let's try that again. Sorry. You're going to sing the baritone part. Yeah, there we go. Try it.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
A couple more times on that. With the baritone part left out. Try that.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away.
I was shifting a little bit there.
When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Nice. All right, let's try that one more time, and then we'll maybe switch around. We'll see if we can sing the tenor part with the baritone. Different. Cool. This is your note, or
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
And down here, way. Cool. One more time for good measure here.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
All right. So that one's tough. And harmony singing in general, when it's this kind of close, when they're really close together, is more of a challenge. Let's see if we can sing. We skipped is trying to sing the melody with the other 2 parts. So let's give that a shot.
I'll fly away, your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll
again, try that same thing. Just starting now.
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Cool. One last time with the melody, and then we'll try singing the tenor part. And then we'll go to a different key to kind of end the class.
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Nice. Okay. Well, we have about 13 minutes left. What I'd like to do is do the tenor part, try to sing in 3-part while we're singing the tenor part. We'll spend some time singing this in a different key. We'll kind of go up. I'll talk about the average difference between the kind of average male and female voice, and we'll try doing this in a different key. And we'll try using the app feature, which is not perfect now, the transposing, but you'll see the general idea. It can help you get your notes for sure. In the meantime, I'm going to throw something in the chat here. If you want me to send the app to you in its beta version, go to this page, and there's a spot for email, and I'll send it to your email. At the bottom of this page is also a preview of an ebook that I have that's called Harmony Singing Tips and Inspiration. And you can kind of peruse through that, or you can download it. It looks like this. And it's a real fun just collection of thoughts and stories around harmony singing with a lot of hyperlinks and some YouTube lessons that I've created in the past. I also have a section of my YouTube channel that's dedicated to harmony singing. And I teach a harmony vocals class, not during the summer, but during other parts of the year, around once a month. So if you enjoy this, you can certainly follow up with that, and you can read through some of these cool little harmony thoughts that I have on this. And you can participate in my harmony singing nerddom. Okay, so back to that app. Oh, I'll put the book in the chat here. Cool. So let's try singing the tenor part now in the same key, and then we'll switch keys. So I'm going to reload it, and I'm just going to hear everything but the tenor part. Your first note is
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
cool. A couple more times on that, and then we'll switch keys.
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Nice. One more time here, and then we'll switch keys. So,
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
nice work singing some trio singing there. Before you go, I want to share with you the importance when it comes to singing music of being able to transpose. So not feeling like you have to sing along with the most popular recording or the original recording, but making sure you sing in a key that matches your voice. So the popular version of this is often done in the key of D by a female lead singer. And C and D would probably be a key that I would recommend for the average kind of female range. Now, how do we know that? There's this really cool dynamic that I learned when I was studying choir in my music education degree, and that's that the average male and female voice is different not by an octave. It's not they're not one person twice as high as the other. In that case, women would sound like Mickey Mouse or something if that were the case. It's not an octave difference, but it's actually the difference of about a fourth. So that's 5 half steps, or 4 notes up, you can think of, right? So in the key of G, which I was singing in, the melody would sound very comfortable if we go 4 notes up and sing that in the key of C. So that's our new center. So, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. I'll try singing up there with you, but go ahead and, if you have a higher voice, try singing it in C. 3, 4. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. One more time. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. So hopefully, if you've got that higher voice, that you notice that. Let me see some thumbs up if you notice that was like a little bit nicer, right? So the other vocal harmony parts will also feel nicer. For example, singing below that, which was previously in the male lead singing key, was probably too low to sing for the average female voice. The baritone part in this key would probably be in a pretty comfortable speaking register. So we'll do the same thing. If the melody note is then the baritone part. Let's try singing the baritone part. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Again. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Nice. And the tenor part would be too high for the average male voice because we're going to be above this note. So again, to find that note, we sing the melody, play the chord, and the melody is so the tenor part would be That's a very high note even for the average female voice, but it only is the first note is the highest, then we kind of leave it. So see if you can sing that tenor part up there, and I will sing that much lower. That would be called the low tenor, where I take the qualifying note, right, is a G note or a C note, and I'm singing an octave lower. That makes it the low tenor. So it's up there. 3, 4. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Ooh, I jumped to the wrong part there. Sorry. Let me try that again for you. Fly, 3, 4. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. That's it, try it again. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Nice. So the app right now, if we were to try that, it's not perfect, but we could get those notes. by going up, by clicking this arrow. Let's see how many times. It was 5 times. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Be prepared for chipmunks.
I'll fly away your glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
So you can still functional. You can still get your notes there. You just have to deal with Austin sounding like a chipmunk. All right. Well, I am going to sort of officially, with 3 minutes left, end my session there. In case there are any questions or comments about this, you have those 2 links in there if you want me to send you the app there in its beta form and be notified for when it's like official and more fancy and pretty and things like that. Please help support by just filling out that form there. And I thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned something, and I'll stick around for any last questions. But thanks again.